Dick Cheney clips on Face the Nation first as a way of setting it up, because Dick Cheney is going to tell us, of course, as he's been telling us for a long time, that torture works and it rocks. Unfortunately for him, the evidence is in. I will share it with you after we watch the first clip. This is going to be clip number 10, guys.
What do you say to those, Mr. Vice President, who say that when we employ these kind of tactics, which are, after all, the tactics that the other side uses, that when we adopt their methods, that we're weakening security, not enhancing security, because it sort of makes a mockery of what we tell the rest of the world?
Well, then you'd have to say that, in effect, we're prepared to sacrifice American lives rather than run an intelligent interrogation program that would provide us the information we need to protect America.
Do you, is what you're saying here is that we should do anything if we could get information? No.
Remember what happened here, Bob. We had captured these people. We had pursued interrogation in a more normal way. We decided that we needed some enhanced techniques. So we went to the Justice Department, and the controversy has arisen over the opinions written by the Justice Department. The reason we went to the Justice Department wasn't because we felt we were going to take some kind of free-hand assault on these people or that we were in the torture business. We weren't. And specifically what we got from the Office of Legal Counsel were legal memos that laid out what's appropriate and what's not appropriate in light of our international commitments. If we had been about torture, we wouldn't have wasted our time going to the Justice Department.
Right, because you're not that unsavvy, right? Instead, what you did was you handpicked a couple of guys and put them in the Justice Department and then said, hey, guys, remember what we agreed to? Yeah, sure, yes, giving you all the power you want? Great, boom, make it happen. And that's what happened with John Yoo and Jay Bybee and the rest of them. So it's very clever to say, my guys at the Justice Department told me it was okay. By the way, those lawyers at the Justice Department, you guys better watch your ass, man. You see what Cheney just did? He said, it wasn't us, man. It was the Justice Department who authorized it. If he's put on the stand, he's going to say, wasn't me. You and Bybee and Gonzalez told me I could do it. Oh, look, I tried to find the most legal way I could. Later, he's going to blame it on Bush. Okay? So it's very clever. Now, but he says we had to do all of this because it saves American lives and that it is an intelligent interrogation program. Here's the unfortunate part. The CIA itself has got an Inspector General report that is going to land like a bombshell on May 7th. The Washington Post already has found out through leaks what is in it. And they are going to conclude that the agency, quote, appeared to violate the UN Convention Against Torture, and it did not produce the desired results. Did not produce desired results. They also say it is difficult, the report will conclude, to, quote, determine conclusively whether interrogations have provided information critical to interdicting specific imminent attacks. In other words, we didn't stop any attacks from the information we got, as best as we can tell. So remember when Cheney was saying, hey, no, you don't understand, man. It might have been a little tough, but we got great information that stopped many attacks. The problem is the CIA had their Inspector General look over all the evidence, all the information, and they're calling this the Holy Grail report that went over all of the evidence and concluded, no, we have no evidence that any attacks were stopped because of this so-called intelligent interrogation program. And by the way, yes, it did violate the UN Convention Against Torture. Now, on top of that, apparently some of the interrogators, some of whom are private contractors, went above and beyond what the memo suggested. And some of them went beyond what they call SEER training procedures. That's your Marine Corps Survival, Evasion, Resistance, and Escape. They say how you're supposed to do the waterboarding, if you do waterboarding, which, by the way, when asked, that SEER program told the administration, do not use this against detainees. We do this under a very controlled environment. It is not a good idea. We do this so they can avoid the torture that they might get from terrible foreign enemies. They told them not to do this. So not only did they not listen to the Marine SEER program, they took their stuff, used it anyway, and then went above and beyond it. And one of the things that they did with waterboarding was they tilted the guys as they're, are supposed to do so that their head is down lower, and then instead of covering their mouth more effectively, their mouth and nose, they covered the whole mouth and nose and poured a hell of a lot more water than they were supposed to. Now you might think, what's the big deal? They're already waterboarding. Well, apparently that makes it an enormous big deal, and it gives you the sense that you are going to drown, and in fact, you are drowning if you do it that way until they stop it at the last moment. Even the physicians who were on board for the rest of torture said, you shouldn't do it this way, you're going to kill the guys. So, but no, none of this is torture. Even though now the Inspector General of the CIA says it was torture. Well, we're going to get the official report released on May 7th, and we'll find out if the Washington Post initial reporting on it is correct. But I suspect it is, otherwise they would not have gone on record as saying it. Apparently, again, medical personnel at the detention facility protested the use of the waterboard in that form, stressing, quote, that there was no a priori reason to believe that applying the waterboard with the frequency and intensity with which it was used by the psychologist interrogators was either efficacious or medically safe. Meaning it is not, you might kill the guy, it's not medically safe. And number two, it doesn't work. We're right here. They're not telling you anything. That's why you had to waterboard him 83 times. Or they're not telling you anything new, maybe because they didn't have anything new. Did you think about that? And that's why you had to waterboard Khalid Sheikh Mohammed 183 times, because it's not working. Of course, the real problem was, and don't ever lose track of this, they didn't want information on Al-Qaeda. Yeah, sure, I'm sure some of the interrogators did. Obviously, some of the guys at the CIA did. But the reason they kept ordering more and more waterboarding and more intense waterboarding from up top was because the real information they wanted didn't exist. And that is the link between Iraq and Al-Qaeda. The CIA used to call that the thing that we absolutely must get. And the more they tortured the guys, the more they didn't know what to make up. And they couldn't give it to Cheney and Rumsfeld because they didn't have it. So now Cheney is going to not just stop at saying, hey, it wasn't us, it was the Justice Department. There's another guy he'd like to put on the hook. This is very telling and possibly quite foolish on Cheney's part. But that's the kind of arrogance he's dealt with in the last 8 years, so why should he change now? Wait till you get a little what he says here in clip number 11.
How much did President Bush know specifically about the methods that were being used? We know that you, and you have said that you approved this
right.
Somewhere down the line. Did President Bush know everything you knew?
I certainly, have every reason to believe he knew a great deal about the program. He basically authorized it. I mean, this was a presidential level decision, and the decision went to the president. He signed off on it.
Wasn't me, wasn't me, wasn't me, wasn't me.
You get it? Hey, look, yeah, I mean, I might have been on board for this, and I liked it and all, but, and he said this in previous interviews, but the vice president actually has no power. It was the president who authorized it. If you want to go after him, have at it, Hoss. Otherwise, why are you confessing on national television? Because he's not. It's not about him. He's putting the blame on Bush. He says, look, if I get burned on this, there's two guys I'm blaming, the Justice Department and Bush. They're the ones that signed off on it, and he's the one that authorized it. Oh, I'm just the guy caught in the middle, man. I mean, I love the program. It rocks the world. But if anyone is legally culpable, it isn't me. Stay classy, Dick Cheney.